picture going around online this month. It claims to show a screenshot of a 2002 episode of The Simpsons that eerily mirrors real-life events. The Simpsons has been shocking the world with its strange ability to predict the future, from major events to wild inventions. The show has often turned fiction into reality. With 2025 already here, some of its most highly anticipated predictions are set to happen. These predictions range from worldwide disasters to wild health risks. So which of their predictions should you keep your eye out for? In this video, we will reveal 20 Simpson predictions for 2025 that are about to happen. Video calls back. In 1995, an episode of The Simpsons called Lisa's Wedding gave us a glimpse of a futuristic world. It showed Lisa chatting with her family through a video call, something that felt unbelievable in the 90s. At the time, video calls weren't part of daily life, making the scene seem like pure science fiction. But it didn't stop there. Lisa's fiancé was seen wearing a device on his wrist that looked like a regular watch, but worked as a communication tool. This was decades before smartwatches became a reality. Fast forward to today, video calls and smartwatches are everywhere. Apps like FaceTime and Zoom have made virtual communications second nature, and smartwatches do much more than tell time. They track fitness, monitor health, send messages, and even make calls. The Simpsons seemed to predict how these technologies would seamlessly blend into our lives. As 2025 is here, the impact of these inventions continues to grow, with new features constantly being added. From controlling smart homes to monitoring health more closely than ever, these once futuristic ideas are now shaping the way we live. This is just one of many other thrilling predictions. Wait to find out more. Music-induced mind. In the 2001 episode, New Kids on the Block, The Simpsons showed a creepy twist on a boy band. Bart and his friends form a band called Party Posey. Looking good, guys. But the twist is that their music is secretly controlled by the US Navy, using subliminal messages to recruit kids. The song's chorus, Ivan Neo, hides the message, "Join the Navy," when flipped, which sounds pretty wild. But as strange as it seems, this episode is eerily close to real-life theories. Some people believe that music, especially certain genres, is used to influence people's thoughts. The idea that powerful figures use music to control what people think isn't completely out there. The Simpsons nailed this idea, showing how music could be more than just entertainment. It could actually be a tool to influence minds. Who knows how much music shapes how we think, or even what we do? Maybe the show was onto something after all. World War III. In 2000, The Simpsons aired an episode that imagined a chaotic future, hinting at the outbreak of World War III. Wake up, everybody, it's World War III. Yeah. The scene showed characters scrambling for safety as bombs fell, capturing a world on the brink of collapse. At the time, it seemed like pure exaggeration. But today, the idea doesn't feel so far-fetched. Global tensions are at an all-time high, with conflicts like the Russia-Ukraine war and the ongoing strife in the Middle East fueling division. Major powers like the US, Russia, and China are caught in a web of alliances and rivalries, making the possibility of a large-scale conflict alarmingly real. Meanwhile, economic instability and political unrest only add to the uncertainty. The episode also featured Lisa Simpson as president. Yes, I am proud to be America's first straight female president, stepping into a crumbling nation after Donald Trump's administration. Her remarks about inheriting a broken budget highlighted the struggles of leadership during times of crisis. With the world on edge and 2025 already here, this unsettling prediction feels like another moment where The Simpsons might have been onto something. Virtual dining. The Simpsons once imagined a world where dining went virtual, and it was both funny and unsettling. In a futuristic episode, Homer and Marge used VR headsets and feeding tubes to enjoy virtual fudge, though Homer wasn't impressed, saying it tasted awful. While the idea seemed far-fetched back then, it's becoming real. Companies like Aero Banquets RMX are making virtual dining experiences a reality, where each bite of food takes you to a different virtual location. Even cruise lines like Royal Caribbean are experimenting with VR dining to enhance their onboard experiences. The show also hinted at the downsides of this technology. In the episode, people immersed in VR started losing touch with the real world, wandering aimlessly with headsets on. This concern feels relevant as VR becomes more common in everyday life. Virtual dining may sound exciting, but The Simpsons' take on it shows how it could impact our social lives and habits. Eating through a feeding tube while being mentally transported elsewhere might seem futuristic, but it raises the question of how much technology will shape even our simplest pleasures this year. Zombie apocalypse. The Simpsons showed a wild zombie apocalypse scenario in the Treehouse of Horror 20 episode, where a food disaster set everything in motion. It all began with Burger Square, a twisted creation made from cannibalistic cows. When Kent Brockman took the first bite, he turned into a muncher, a zombie-like creature driven by hunger. The infection spread rapidly, turning Springfield into a chaotic mess. The Simpson family managed to survive, with Bart somehow immune to the outbreak. While zombies may seem like a stretch, the idea of a food-related crisis causing widespread panic is not. Issues like foodborne illnesses, unsafe farming practices, and experimental food production have shown how vulnerable the global food supply really is. Outbreaks of deadly pathogens in the past, such as E. coli and Salmonella, have already caused serious concern. The episode also captured how quickly panic can take over when food safety is compromised. As food production becomes more advanced and risks increase, the thought of an unexpected crisis affecting millions feels more plausible than ever, making this Simpsons prediction hit closer to home. Trump's presidential takeover. In a 2015 episode of The Simpsons, a quick scene showed Homer flying past a sign that read Trump 2024. At the time, it seemed like just another clever gag from the writers. Fast forward years later, and Donald Trump officially announced his 2024 presidential bid on November 15, 2022. This moment left many stunned, as the show once again seemed to predict a major political event long before it happened. What makes this even more shocking is that this prediction came before Trump had even become president. The Simpsons writers have a way of weaving these details into their episodes, blending humor with uncanny accuracy. Trump remains one of the most polarizing figures in modern politics, and his return to the presidential race has already set the stage for heated debates and endless speculation. The show's ability to align with real-life events, especially ones as unpredictable as this, continues to amaze viewers. Apple's Vision Pro. In a 2016 episode of The Simpsons titled Friends and Family, Springfield residents were shown wearing virtual reality headsets that let them experience anything without leaving their homes. Characters worked, traveled, and relaxed in a fully immersive virtual world, all while ignoring the reality around them. Fast forward to 2025, and this prediction doesn't feel so fictional anymore. Apple's Vision Pro has brought this concept to life. With its advanced features, users can interact with digital environments using their eyes and hands, blending virtual and real spaces seamlessly. Whether it's attending virtual meetings, exploring new places, or completing tasks, devices like the Vision Pro are redefining daily life. The Simpsons episode hilariously illustrated how people became so consumed by their virtual realities that they neglected everything else. Now, similar behaviors are already visible as more people are interested in this technology. Virtual reality headsets are becoming more mainstream, with their use expanding from gaming to work and social interactions. AI taking over jobs. In the world of The Simpsons, robots have been taking over jobs for years, and it's starting to feel like that prediction is coming true in 2025. Back in 2012, the show aired an episode where Mr. Burns replaced all the power plant employees with robots, and Homer ended up out of work. The twist was, the robots were trained by humans, only to replace them later. Fast forward to today, and AI is changing the way we work. Robots are already serving food in restaurants, in places like Japan, and self-driving cars are on the rise, replacing taxi drivers. AI is also taking over jobs in coding, graphic design, finance, and even translation. Tools like ChatGPT are helping businesses cut costs while making some roles obsolete. While this all might sound like science fiction, it's happening right before our eyes. Just like the show predicted, the robots are here, and they're not just on TV anymore. They're starting to take over the real world. The most amazing part of the video is just ahead. Holographic technology. Back in the classic Simpsons episode Bart to the Future, we got a hilarious peek into a future where holograms take over everyday life. From delivering messages to replacing letters, holograms seemed to do it all. One of the funniest scenes shows a mailman bringing Bart a holographic message, complete with the sign, "Off, smell you later." Fast forward to 2025, and while we might not be saying goodbye with a hologram just yet, the tech world has definitely been playing catch-up. Today, holographic technology isn't just a wild idea. You can spot high-quality holograms popping up in stores and events, giving us a glimpse of what's possible. Big companies like Microsoft have been pushing holographic communication tools, and even some concerts now feature hologram performances. With the rise of AI and 3D tech, the way we talk to each other might actually shift sooner than we think. Phones could end up feeling a bit old school, especially with the growing demand for immersive, face-to-face-like experiences. It feels like something straight out of a Simpsons joke. But here we are. Autonomous vehicles. The Simpsons gave us a hilarious yet unsettling glimpse into the future of self-driving cars in the episode, "Baby, You Can't Drive My Car." Homer and Marge find themselves in a self-driving vehicle, and Homer's confusion about how to steer leads to a chaotic ride. To make matters worse, the car keeps moving, even when Homer desperately needs a bathroom break. It felt like a funny exaggeration, but here, in 2025, the reality of autonomous vehicles is not too far off. Major players like Tesla and Waymo have made big leaps in self-driving technology. These cars can navigate highways, park themselves, and even handle tricky traffic situations. But glitches still happen, from random emergency stops to near misses caused by sensor malfunctions. Some cars have struggled to react to unpredictable human behavior, like jaywalking pedestrians or cyclists swerving unexpectedly. FIFA controversy. The Simpsons took a shot at FIFA in their episode, "You Don't Have to Live Like a Referee," and it turned out to be spot on. In the episode, corrupt soccer officials get arrested, and the show makes a playful jab at the world of bribery in international football. Not long after it aired in 2014, real FIFA executives were actually arrested for corruption, proving that the writers were onto something. Even now, in 2025, FIFA can't seem to shake off controversy. The fallout from the 2018 and 2022 World Cup bids still lingers, with global discussions about fairness and transparency in sports growing louder. This prediction from The Simpsons feels more relevant than ever. The episode also had Brazil losing to Germany, a nod to their crushing defeat in real life during the 2014 semi-finals. It's funny how this mix of humor and reality keeps aligning with FIFA's drama. While Homer stood strong against bribery in the episode, the real world of soccer shows just how hard it is to keep the sport clean. AI robots. The Simpsons have a way of making their jokes about the future feel a little too real. In Treehouse of Horror 14, Homer loses his job thanks to an alcohol test, hinting at a future where robots and AI take over human jobs. Here in 2025, it is not just a hint anymore. Robots are working in warehouses, driving cars, and even making decisions in offices. The idea of machines replacing humans doesn't feel like sci-fi because it is already happening. Another episode shows Homer and his friends training AI robots, which sounded wild at the time, but today, companies are doing exactly that, teaching AI systems to learn and adapt to tasks humans usually handle. And who could forget the Itchy and Scratchy Land episode? The robots in the park go rogue, and while that might seem extreme, real-world experts have raised concerns about what could happen if AI systems become too powerful or glitch. Economic collapse. In one episode in The Simpsons, Homer loses his job at the nuclear plant, setting off a chain reaction of economic chaos that leads to societal breakdown. Another moment that stands out is Lisa Simpson stepping into the role of president, taking on the challenge of fixing a financial disaster left by President Trump. These storylines felt like satire at the time, but in 2025, they seem uncomfortably familiar. The global economy is facing some of its toughest challenges yet, with industries collapsing, inflation rising, and political unrest spreading. The idea of a complete economic shift feels closer than ever. Banks are under pressure, and governments are scrambling to maintain order while debts pile up. Major corporations that once seemed invincible are laying off workers and cutting back on big projects, adding to the uncertainty. What seemed like exaggerated fiction on The Simpsons has slowly unfolded into something that feels all too real. Their predictions about financial turmoil might not be just a joke anymore. Moving to Mars. The Simpsons might just be onto something again with their wild predictions. Back in an episode, Lisa and Marge joined a mission to colonize Mars. Lisa, ever the idealist, signed up for a one-way trip to the Red Planet. Marge, being Marge, wasn't about to let her daughter leave alone. In a twist only The Simpsons could deliver, the entire family ended up packing their bags for Mars. The show's timeline guessed that Mars colonization would kick off before 2026. Sure, the first mission flopped, but by 2051, Lisa and Marge made it there. And just when things seemed settled, Lisa decided Mars wasn't enough and planned to head to Venus instead. Classic Lisa. Now with Elon Musk and SpaceX making big moves, that once fictional idea feels closer than ever. SpaceX is already testing rockets and lining up volunteers eager to trade Earth for a Martian life. It's wild to think that what seemed like a cartoon's crazy plot is starting to match up with real-world plans. Mars might actually be within reach. Black hole. Back in 2013, The Simpsons gave us a creepy black hole story in Treehouse of Horror 23. A tiny black hole shows up in Springfield, and things go downhill fast. At first, it starts swallowing random stuff, but the more it eats, the bigger it gets, until it's pulling in everything and everyone. By the end, Springfield is gone, sucked into another dimension, but instead of being destroyed, the people of Springfield find themselves in a strange new world, surrounded by aliens who seem oddly welcoming. This idea of black holes as portals to other dimensions might sound like pure joke, but with the pace of space exploration, it's starting to look more intriguing. India's latest space missions are already diving into the mysteries of black holes, with researchers hoping to learn more about how they work. Could black holes actually lead to other realms? As we step into 2025, these theories are getting some serious attention. What once seemed like a cartoon's wild imagination could be closer to the truth than we ever thought. The best part is yet to come. Stay tuned. Environmental disaster. The Simpsons movie from 2007 had one wild storyline where Homer's love for donuts was only matched by his ability to cause chaos. After dumping a silo of pig waste into Springfield Lake, an environmental crisis explodes. The government's response was to seal the entire town under a massive dome. Sure, it's over the top, but the idea of an environmental disaster hitting hard feels uncomfortably real today. Now, it's 2025, and the world's already dealing with rising sea levels, intense storms, and wildfires burning out of control. Places like Miami are bracing for floods, while California keeps battling flames year after year. This isn't just a one-off problem. It's turning into a constant fight to stay ahead of nature's wrath. Cities around the globe are building seawalls, rethinking urban planning, and scrambling to adapt. It's like everyone's on edge, waiting to see how bad things might get. Maybe we won't end up in a bubble, but the way climate change is going, it feels like The Simpsons were warning us about the chaos we're now staring right in the face. Hovercars. Remember those moments where Bart and Lisa zoomed around in futuristic hover vehicles? It was once something you could only dream of, but today, with tech constantly evolving, it's starting to look like those hovercars might just roll out sooner than we thought. Thanks to advances in electric vehicles, like what Elon Musk is doing with Tesla, and all the work going into alternative transportation, we're seeing signs that hovercars could be closer than we imagined. Companies are already testing flying cars, and some are even developing vehicles that can float above the ground using air pressure. While it's not quite as smooth as we saw on TV, the technology is definitely moving in the right direction. The Simpsons predicted a world with hovercars, and, well, 2025 might be the year we start seeing them actually take off. Disney buying Fox. In a 1998 episode of The Simpsons, Homer gets into the world of gossip and ends up rubbing elbows with Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger. While driving to their mansion, viewers catch a quick glimpse of a sign in the background that reads, 20th Century Fox, a division of Walt Disney. This little moment seemed like a funny joke at the time, but it turned out to be eerily accurate. Fast forward to 2017, and Disney made the big move, buying 21st Century Fox for a massive $71 billion. This deal brought a whole lot of content under Disney's wing, including Fox's movies, TV shows, and cable networks. The Simpsons, one of the crown jewels in Fox's lineup, is now part of the Disney empire. The merger also helped Disney grow its subscriber base, combining millions from both companies. It's not just about movies anymore. Disney now holds an even bigger chunk of the entertainment world, all thanks to an old Simpsons joke that looked small at the time, but ended up predicting a major industry shakeup. 3D printed foods. In the episode The Food Wife from season 23, The Simpsons introduced us to the idea of 3D printed food, where meals are made layer by layer, almost like a mini food factory. Back then, it seemed like a quirky, futuristic idea, but now it's becoming real. Companies around the world are already working on 3D printers that can make everything from chocolate to pizza. Some even want to make it more sustainable, using things like algae or plant-based ingredients to print protein-packed meals. By 2025, we could be printing our own food at home, or grabbing a freshly printed slice of pizza or dessert at a restaurant. With growing interest in sustainability and food innovation, 3D printed meals might soon be as regular as grabbing a frozen dinner and popping it in the microwave. It's pretty wild to think how close we are to living out a Simpsons episode in our own kitchens. Curling gold medalists. In the 2010 episode Boy Meets Curl, The Simpsons predicted the U.S. men's curling team winning Olympic gold in an epic showdown against Sweden. At the time, it was just a funny storyline, but in 2018, it actually happened. The U.S. team, led by John Schuster, faced off against Sweden in the final and pulled off an incredible 10-7 victory to win their first ever gold medal in curling. This historic win made headlines and became one of the most talked about moments of the 2018 Winter Olympics. The prediction is even more mind-blowing because The Simpsons called it more than 8 years before it happened. What makes it even crazier is that curling was not a sport the US had been known for winning gold in, so this was a huge moment for the team and the sport. The Simpsons was spot on, showing how the show sometimes gets more than just a few things right about the future. Which of these predictions do you find the most hard to believe? Let us know what you think in the comments section. Do not forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Click on the next video displayed on your screen. You will enjoy it.